So, as someone who would one day love to work in animation, I have to say, I'm more going towards 2D animation rather than 3D. And that scares me because I feel like 2D animation is slowly dying. Some studios started out with 2D animation. You have Disney, who made some amazing 2D animated films like Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, and Fantasia, and so many more. And you saw that transition in the 2010s because most of their films weren't working. So they fully transitioned to 3D, and I think it's sad because I think Disney was such a great studio when it came to that. You also had DreamWorks, which started out in the 2D department, and I do think their transition was a good call. I think their 3D animated films have been pretty good. But I feel like 2D is slowly dying, you know? We get movies, studios that just switch, and, you know, I think 3D is a good medium. I respect it. I think it's a very complicated art form. I think the one studio that has really been able to use 3D animation and always do its best with it is Pixar. They invented it pretty much, and they they do an amazing job with all of their films. But that's not the case for every studio. Take a studio like Illumination, for example, one of the most divisive animation studio, and the prime example of why I don't like 3D animation. Let's take a movie like The Lorax, for example, and let's compare it to Ratatouille. Now, these are two films that came out not too far from each other. Ratatouille came out in 2007 and Lorax came out in 2012. Lorax thinks that it can just get some colorful animation and just slap it on there. It just doesn't work. It looks unrealistic, and it might get the kids to go for it, but it's not good. And it's nothing against the animators, but it's not good. It's just lazy and boring and honestly bad. When you look at Ratatouille, on the other hand, that movie, it gives you some colors and some beautiful shots, but it doesn't go like super colorful. Like it doesn't go full on. There are some scenes that are very dark toned, and I think that's okay. That's what Pixar does. They don't overuse the color or any of that stuff. They use details to further out their animation. They use some intricately made details, and they try to move forward when it comes to hair for Monsters Inc. or faces in The Incredibles. They try to further out the genre, the art form. But Illumination they're just trying to make money off of it, and they just slap on this sloppy animation, and it's maddening. There's also some DreamWorks films that do that, and it's very disappointing because I think DreamWorks is a great studio. They made some beautiful films like Kung Fu Panda. I think that might be their best looking film. How to Train Your Dragon is also a beautiful film with a couple of bad character renditions. I still think it works. But you look at a movie like The Boss Baby or Trolls. Trolls feels like DreamWorks' Illumination film, and so does Boss Baby. They feel like they weren't made by this studio, which is supposed to make some good animation. They feel like cash grabs, and that's the thing. Illumination is taking over and other studios are following its lead, and I think that's the worst case scenario possible. It's just the worst. You also have Sony Pictures, which haven't really made great films, but I'm still gonna support them because what they were able to do with Spider-Verse, blending both 2D and 3D, was amazing. If you bring us movies like that, movies that can further out the art form, then I'm all there for it. But it feels like 3D is staying the exact same, apart from Pixar and a couple of indie films, but it's staying the same, and it's getting worse and worse as more and more studios are going for the money and just slap on some solid animation with some nice colors and just do it, you know? But Spider-Verse, every minute of that film took a week to animate. Each minute took a week to animate. That's amazing, and that really shows the care. I'm sure the animators spent a long time on the other films too, but this film feels like it actually had something to bring, because animation is an art form. It's a way of telling a story. But I feel like for movies like Illumination, for studios like Illumination, it doesn't want to tell a story. It's not a way of telling a story. It's a way of bringing in kids to make money. And I hate that. Pixar, they use 3D animation, their animation, to further out the experience. They don't use it for money. DreamWorks, I feel like they haven't told a competent story in a while, since at least How to Train Your Dragon 3, which was a sequel. They haven't told an actual story in a while, and now they're doing sequels for Trolls and Boss Baby, which are their money-making movies, and it feels so wrong. So I really hope that 3D animation is gonna dial down a little bit, but I don't think it will. Even a studio like Studio Ghibli, they make some of the best 2D animation. I mean, I think they have perfected the formula, and they just got out Earwig and the Witch, which looks pretty bad. Yeah, it looks bad. These look like 3D models or whatever. Like, look at this hair. Does this look natural to you? It looks like a pop figurine, a pop vinyl. It looks wrong, and I hear it's an experiment. It's not an actual thing, and I hope so, because Ghibli is one of the only studios left that do 2D. There's also Cartoon Saloon, which makes some amazing 2D animated films, and they do a lot different. They bring something new to the table, and I love that. They use it. They use the art form to further out the story. Yeah, so yeah, Illumination, they don't feel like they're using it to tell any stories. I mean, they don't tell stories. I enjoyed the first Despicable Me and even the second one, but their movies have nothing to say. They're just here to make money, and that's a real big shame that we've come to a point where we're using this amazing art form and movie making way for money. It's just so wrong and so sad, and I hope we can get past this and maybe come back with 2D, but right now I'm just I'm hoping for the best, but the future doesn't look bright. I will say though, we still have anime, and I don't think anime is going anywhere. And in the past couple of years, we have gotten some solid 2D animated films like I Lost My Body and Clouds. So while the future isn't bright. I still think there's hope for the animation industry to get back on its feet. And yeah, it's sad. Blue Sky Animation Studio just got shut down, which I see this as a good thing because they were veering in that direction as well, with their Ice Age sequels. So that's a good thing, I think. But overall, I'm just hoping the art form and the industry can just get back and see what it's all about. Just follow Pixar's lead because they know what they're doing. They know that animation is there for a story. It's not there to make you some money. It's there to be useful. It's there to tell a story that maybe you couldn't tell in live action. So yeah, animation hopefully has a future, and I can't wait to be part of that future.